Everybody needs to pack a gun, then there wouldn't be mass shootings. If everybody was packing it and we had the Second Amendment, mass shootings would come down in a hurry.
Do you think the solution to the mass shootings would be more guns in more people's hands?
Yep, exactly.
You gotta love sharp logic when you see it, don't you? I guess you don't, and most people don't, because they hear things and they say things that just don't make any sort of cognitive sense, especially when it comes to things they obviously in their heart know are wrong, but their brain confuses them on account of brainwashing, on account of towing the party line instead of taking care of people, instead of protecting children. You can see it from the smug expression on this MAGA man's face to the expression of shock on Davram from the Good Liar's face listening to it. This short interaction says so much about how right-wing gun people justify their infatuation with firearms. They love a gun. They could marry a gun if they could. They would. They'd be happy to. They'd love to sleep with a gun in bed, although they'd probably keep it in the case because they're aware of how deadly they in fact are, but not when it affects others, and not when it affects talking points.
The mass shootings are because why?
Because we have the Second Amendment that allows us to have guns. A lot of countries don't have the power to get guns as easily as we can, and that's the reason, because there's more
So
guns.
the mass shootings are because of...
More guns, more people, and if you have more guns, more people, more crazy people that have guns, stuff happens. I wouldn't blame the gun. You got to blame.
But you're kind of, that's the reason for more gun control, is that more guns, more crazy people, more bad things happen.
I mean, when a crazy person with a gun comes in, how do you take them out? Another gun.
So your answer to the gun issue would be more guns, more people carrying guns.
I mean, look at this woman. At first, she's wearing all this Trump gear, and you think she's admitting that guns are the problem, that because we have more lax gun laws, more people die. And then when she says, how do you fix it? She says, more guns. She says, less gun laws. I mean, she was so close. She almost got it. And then just, again, towed the Republican Party position of our country should make guns easier to access, and our country should have even more gun owners and even more guns than the 400 million guns we already have, which is enough for one plus gun for every person, child, toddler in the nation. It's a strange position. And again, I believe in guns. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the right of people to own a gun. But again, for the millionth time, that does not mean that you cannot have common sense regulations, that you can't make sure you do very thorough background checks, make sure there's not mental illness, make sure there's not serious crime in somebody's background, make sure that you have red flag laws so that when somebody's having a mental episode, they can have a gun removed from them so they don't kill people. Just some common sense things. Closing loopholes if you're going to have certain gun regulations and background checks required, but then not if you buy it at a gun show or not if you do a private sale where, well, that just kind of defeats the entire purpose then, doesn't it?
So it's the people that you feel like are the issue with the mass shootings and all those things in this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
So would you do anything to limit the amount of guns that get into those people's hands if the people are the issue?
No, none.
There's about 500 million guns in this country, but it just keeps getting less safe for people.
Sure, that's a opinion, absolutely.
It's very frustrating. It's infuriating to try to reason with people who don't have reasoning skills. Again, no one's trying to take your guns away, but just trying to have common sense regulations would be helpful. They just don't even get, though, when the absurdity of their own positions get put back in their face. Watch the great Walter Masterson do this to the face of a MAGA-filled school board.
The point is we need to protect our children, which is why we need more security in our schools. We need cops patrolling the hallway. We should also hire cops as teachers. I care about children. I care about children so much that I'm against the WIC program, universal pre-K, any form of gun control. We need to, get back to the fundamentals. We need to take down the pride flag, put the American flag back up, and we need to force every child to salute it in the morning, right? That makes sense. Thank you.
You see, they claim to be pro-life and protecting children and being pro-freedom, yet they are against protecting children's lives. They're against actually stopping these shootings in any way if it could affect even the ability to get one gun super quickly. And they certainly are not for freedom when it comes to values they don't agree with. So you either have to be for freedom or not. But it seems really the profits of gun manufacturers are the most important value for a lot of these people. And then children's lives are somewhere down the rung, which you understand if you don't understand stuff.
We know that it's not a gun thing. Any rational person knows it's not a gun thing. We know it's a mental health issue. So I want to know from you, what is President Trump and the White House going to do to address mental health issues around the country associated with these shootings?
Before we hear super good fact alterer Caroline Leavitt answer this joke of a question teed up for her by a supporter, just take a second to appreciate exactly how masterfully that was done. MAGA influencer Brandon Tatum, a former cop, just blindly asserted that mental health issues are solely to blame for our country's gun violence epidemic. And the guns themselves have zero to do with it. Why not both? Couldn't it be both? Couldn't it potentially be maybe the mental health problems and the guns, the access to guns? Because other countries, we've said it a million times, have similar mental health issues, and other countries don't have as much access to guns as readily and easily as we do here in America. Couldn't it at least be both? Or do they have to be mutually exclusive?
The administration is focused on helping the people of Minnesota. It's been less than a day, of course, since this tragedy happened. We have federal law enforcement on the ground assisting local law enforcement. This investigation is ongoing. There's still a lot of facts to understand about these circumstances, and so we're going to continue to do that.
Well, as you probably expected, Leavitt towed the party line following Tatum's question and the framing of it to a T, completely dismissing how easy it is to legally obtain firearms, leading to the tragedy that happened in Minnesota just very recently with children being shot at church. An unconscionable, unimaginable thing, except sadly we can very easily imagine it, and the consciences of many of these people are able to easily handle that. And so we have more tragedies, and we have more politicians having to go to podiums and speak on them, and not much they can do with being stonewalled by governments that they work and try to lead, but so often lead unsuccessfully.
And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have, every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country.
Yes, because of course, shooting anyone randomly, shooting anyone in church or a place of worship, shooting children is pure, unthinkable evil. But we have to think about it because it happens. As he said, it's all too common in this country. These kids were literally praying. And it's okay to pray for them after tragedies like this. It's okay to hope the victims' families somehow recover from this or get over the intense pain at some point. They'll always feel it very deeply, but, maybe be able to go on about their lives. That shouldn't be maybe the only thing we do. Is there a chance we could also take, I don't know, what's the term for it? Action. Beyond thoughts and prayers, maybe taking action of some kind to prevent things like this from not only maybe ever happening again, but maybe happening way less, because they happen so much. We don't even really notice them as much anymore. And that's where I stand on it. The NRA went bankrupt a few years ago, but they're back. And guns are everywhere. And we don't do anything to stop it. And maybe we can just find some compromise, protect people's right to own a gun, and also protect people's right to not be slaughtered rampantly. A lot has to be done. Mental health, better education, better upbringing, and certainly better gun laws as well. You can still get your gun if you're of sound mind, and you can prove that you can be a responsible gun owner. But can we take weapons of war off the streets? Can we stop people from getting guns if they have issues that could likely lead to them misusing them? Can we close loopholes? Can we do things that over 90% of the public are in support of, which is most of those things? That would be nice. I'm not holding my breath, though, because I'm aware that when you hold your breath too long, you die. And I'm aware that when you have 400 million guns on the streets, you also have a chance to die from them. And it would be nice to be able to avoid that. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm silly. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can follow me at Ben Gleib on Instagram for lots more.